Guess who's back?
Oh boy.
It's my friend Shawn, aka Fallen Ranger, and if you didn't check out that video where we reacted to videos from our video production course, you should definitely check that out. I'm just hanging out with him, and I'm gonna edit this on vacation because at the time that I'm recording this, if you look at the date on the right bottom corner of the screen, tomorrow I'm going to California to spend time with family for Christmas. So yay! I'll edit the video during my time there. But for this video, I want to go over something that is pretty piqued my interest since then. So I've noticed that there's a PC build from this channel called The Verge. Well, they have over 2 million subscribers, and they make like reviews and videos on like a bunch of electronics and stuff like that. And I was talking with my friend Shawn earlier, and how is your knowledge on PC building?
I mean, I only just took a sort of basic class in high school about how to build and repair computers, so it's kind of basic knowledge, but I should know enough, hopefully.
Well, okay, so what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna react, or I know I've seen this video already, but he's gonna react to apparently from what a lot of people got from this is that this PC build was so terrible. And I wanted to go over the points on what's right and what's wrong in this video right here, Shawn.
How much am I going to cringe?
Okay, and I actually have the microphone in between us because I learned that last time I was heard much louder than Shawn was. So we're gonna try to equalize.
That's a bit of a problem.
We're gonna try to equalize the volume control of our voices and stuff like that. So here it is.
Also, my voice might sound jank because I'm kind of getting over a cold right now.
Oh, sorry about that, Shawn.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get to the full screen and if we can actually. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, let's watch.
So a few years ago, TC, our managing editor, built a gaming desktop, but it's kind of out of date and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5. So let's build a new one.
This is incredible timing.
Yeah. I also.
Now.
So yeah. Feel free to pause. Feel free to pause if you find something wrong or right here, and a much easier way it would be to press the space bar. Yeah.
How to build a custom computer? Okay. Oh boy, I assume this is how not to.
Pretty much. So yeah, just want you to know, space bar would be just to, yeah.
You can build a gaming desktop for around $1,000, but I want to go all out, so I spent around $2,000. PC like this is going to be able to play most games at ultra settings. So what do you need to build a desktop? Well, of course, first you need a table. Preferably not metal. If it's going to be metal, have an anti-static working surface layered on top of it, a thermal paste applicator, an Allen wrench, some tweezers to tighten up the wires, a Swiss Army knife which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it, and last but not least, an anti-static bracelet, which is to protect you and the parts. These are the parts you're going to need, but more importantly, before we get there...
Actually, I want to point out, like, do you actually agree with the materials that he used for that?
For the most part, I'm not sure about the Swiss Army knife.
He said that,
stuff like tweezers, I don't think you need an Allen wrench. It's been a while since I took the class, so my knowledge is a bit shaky, but I don't think you need the Allen wrench. Tweezers I think you might need tweezers.
Well, you might need them, but they're not actually tweezers. They're actually zip ties.
No, there were zip ties too. There was tweezers and zip ties.
Well, I mean, like
zip ties you definitely want to use for wire management.
And actually, about the anti-static wristband or bracelet, that's not anti-static. That's nothing grounded to it.
That is most definitely not an anti-static wristband.
And
I was listening more than I was watching.
And the first thing they actually pointed out was that it was a thermal paste applicator. Like, I don't know if you really use that.
Yeah, thermal paste, you use that. That is for, I think you use it on the GPU.
Well,
not GPU, the CPU.
Yeah, we'll just okay. Let's just continue. I'm trying to adjust the volume so that the audience should be sure to hear us as well.
Okay.
there, we need to understand what these parts are doing and how they interact with one another.
So
to
what
better
he's
understand the
saying
parts that
seems
make up a
accurate,
desktop,
but what
let's
he's
try to
actually
understand them
doing is very
individually.
wrong.
The processor is like the computer's
would
brain,
assume
a base
so.
of calculations that
Processor,
control
CPU.
everything the computer does. The motherboard is like the foundation, serving as a main structure for all other parts to be added to. It also allows the other parts to communicate with one another, which also makes it kind of like a nervous system. Graphics cards are responsible for rendering and processing visuals into what you see on screen. Our PC's power supply is of course channeling electricity, in that it adjusts and provides the right amount of energy to keep it running.
Power supply.
Last but not least,
Definitely
RAM,
get a
or
powerful enough
random
one.
access memory, and your hard drive are good
Dedicated
examples
RAM.
of short-term and long-term memory, respectively. If you want to better understand what kind of computer to build, then first figure out what you want to use it for. A gamer might care more about a graphics card than, say, a video editor who might want extra RAM to assist with editing large files. If you're building a budget build for video streaming, say under $1,000, you want to focus on
VHS tape,
parts
yes.
like a Core i5 or Core i3
I don't see
processor
what the point of the
that require
VHS
less
tape is
energy.
about.
They'll be less powerful, but then you'll be able to scale back the cost of several other parts. And if you need help choosing the right parts for your build, there are sites like PCPartPicker.com that help show
a good
presets for
website.
which parts fit together, which sort of part conflicts you might
recommend if
have,
you're looking to
and
build a
where to
PC of
find
your
deals
own.
on new parts.
We have a lot of boxes and a lot of PC parts, so it's best if you unbox them, isolate the parts that you really need, place items into the case, and make sure that they all fit, and then start working.
there's no
And now we're
anti-static
really going to start
wristband.
building by adding the motherboard in. Some notes about installing motherboards: they're really delicate, you should be really careful with them, and screw in with confidence, but also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board. I
That is
chose
indeed
Asus's Z370
However, that
motherboard
motherboard
for
is
two main
probably now
reasons.
fried.
One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and
Much like
also it
everything
has
else he's
support for
going to touch.
NVMe SSDs, meaning you can get really fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention to the brace that goes at the back.
PC parts in general, at least the vast majority of them, are super sensitive to static. You don't even need to feel the static electricity, and it will completely and utterly fry them if you touch them without anti-static stuff. That is so incredibly important. Every time I've worked on my PC, I've always been worried, am I actually hooking this up right? And every time I try and boot it back up, it's just like, did I screw this up? Did I ruin my computer? Thank God I haven't yet, but every time I do that, I always get that worry because it's just so sensitive to electricity.
Oh, by the way, you was saying that that's a brace.
A brace? Okay, that's... I don't remember if I learned about that.
It's an IO shield. He called an IO shield a brace.
Are you sure you don't know more than I do?
Well, I
I don't think I learned much about actual like cases and any
Well,
stuff.
actually, I've learned a lot because I watched YouTubers who are actually the ones who built PCs before themselves. They pointed out this themselves. So
The class I took, I only learned like general things, the names of general stuff. What were it? Just whatever. Let's keep going.
okay.
Of the computer, you always have to make sure that you really hammer it in, because there's no screw. It really just has to go outside of the case and clasp onto the frame. And this is very important because otherwise you can't
like
align
that.
the motherboard correctly with the holes.
I'm
We're
just
gonna
gonna
start
assume that everything
installing
he's doing
all
is
8
wrong.
screws.
Oh, he's using that Swiss Army knife.
The Swiss Army knife.
So next we're going to install the
Get
RAM
an
on the
actual
motherboard.
screwdriver,
I
please.
chose Corsair's 16GB Vengeance LED RAM for two main reasons. One, it has LEDs, and we do like lights in our gaming desktops.
LEDs, wow.
Secondly, it's pretty fast
necessary.
RAM. It's 2,666 megahertz, I believe, so it's pretty fast.
Don't think megahertz is how you measure the speed.
Well,
Maybe.
but what they point out is that 2666 is not really fast for DDR4 RAM.
Yeah, he didn't specify it was DDR4.
But like I think DDR4 is like the most common like type of RAM that people use in their PCs.
DDR4 is it's either DDR3 or 4 that is the most common, but DDR4 is definitely I think the best.
And yeah, so in 2666 it's not really that fast. If you want to go with a fast one, it'd be 30. You would go on 3200 megahertz.
Yeah, I think my RAM is 3200. My old RAM was slower, so I couldn't even overclock.
Yeah, but 2666 would be really fast for DDR3, but with DDR4 not that much. It's just typical.
And this motherboard supports that speed, which is most
man.
important. open the slots first and just aligning the stick with the middle of the strip, not with the end, and just lining that up with the logo. So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see the gold connectors on the side anymore, that's when you know the RAM is in. Step 3, we're going to...
I had some trouble putting in my RAM because I was worried that I would be pushing too hard and break it, when in reality I just needed to push harder before I'd hear the click. Like, my RAM would just... one end would not be clasped in, and I'm just like, why is this not working? It was a combination of me not putting it in properly, combined with the fact that my old RAM is not compatible with my new one, so I could not get more RAM.
Also, by the way, what do you see down here? I apologize that the YouTube player is kind of blocking it, but what do you see down there? And I'm pointing to that right now. Look at the RAM.
Yeah. This RAM.
And just lining that up with the logo. So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see the gold connectors on the side anymore, that's when you know the RAM is in.
Like, I don't think it's completely necessary to put it in specific spots, but it's recommended.
Yeah, like...
Step 3.
Okay, but like, look at that. Do you see that right there?
I see 2 sticks of RAM in there.
Yeah, but like, what do you see wrong with that?
I can't see it very well, especially because of the loading bar.
Yeah, I apologize for that, but that's just the way it is. I'll zoom in the video editing. So what's basically wrong is that that's not dual channel RAM. It's supposed to be dual channel RAM, but that's not going to be the way it is because they are close together. They're supposed to be spaced apart.
Yeah, it's recommended to space them apart. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like you're supposed to have like one slot in between, to get a full 16 gigs.
Yeah, I remember that now.
And if you have those close together, that's gonna be halved. So the computer's gonna think, oh, there's 8 gigabytes of RAM, but in reality, this should be 16. Yeah. So I don't know what went wrong with his mind when he put them together like that.
I think he's doing it wrong on purpose, just to trigger people.
I don't know. Anyways, let's continue.
3, we're going to install the hard drive, or in this case, the NVMe SSD. I chose this format of solid-state drive so that I can input it into the motherboard without having to worry about extra wires or putting it in a separate part of the case and just getting really messy. This is from Kingston, and it's 480 gigabytes, so it's not a lot, but you can always upgrade this and swap it out, and it's only held down by one screw and a latch.
Are you serious?
It's really simple and really straightforward. Speed for gaming is
now that I think about it, that just looks like a small stick of RAM.
You want files to write quickly, and you want games to load
quickly. He keeps using
so that's why it's best if you use
Swiss Army knife.
Okay, so step 4, we're going to install the graphics card. I chose P&Y's GTX 1080, which is overclocked, and so it's a pretty easy installation. You're just going to find the gold connectors, and you're going to line this bracket with the back end bracket of your PC
brackets.
case.
Are you serious?
Now, which lane you choose depends entirely on what other parts you're going to put in the system. I'm just going to pick the top one because the SSD is at the bottom and I don't want to cover it. I just think it looks nice.
His points on putting it into a lane or slot is wrong.
I would think so.
Because
there's different slots that are different sizes, and you have to put it in whichever one is the right size for whatever part you're putting in.
Well, actually, it's best that you put it in the top slot, because the top slot is the one that carries the most bandwidth and will give out the most performance in the graphics card. And if you put it in any other lane, you're gonna sacrifice performance out of it. Yeah. So like, why would he say that it doesn't matter? Because in reality, it really does.
Yeah. I'm gonna pretend I knew that.
Click down. Take your remaining brackets and just put them in the spots that you haven't used.
God.
Yeah.
Those are the
you don't have to screw these in.
I mean, at least that's somewhat right. You are supposed to cover those up
because
then airflow is
and your GPU's installed. Power supply time. I chose Corsair's 850 watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing GPUs when they come out, and I don't want to have to upgrade it again. So all you have to do is take the brick.
I don't know what he's talking about. Headroom.
He called the power supply a brick. I mean, I can understand that because
it looks kind of like the shape of a brick.
Well, I know it's the shape of the brick then, but
I'm trying not to like pay attention too much to the wording he says. Like that's just kind of nitpicking.
Oh my god!
Instead of like, unless he's getting it way off, like he's calling a power supply something that it clearly isn't.
I know. So I mean, the structure may be similar, but
calling it a brick is just like, hey, it's got the shape of a brick. I'm not gonna
Like I can understand that then, but you don't call it a brick. It doesn't act as a brick.
Yeah, it acts as a power supply.
Yes.
It supplies power.
Yeah.
And make sure that you align it with these little insulating pads.
Those are not insulating pads. What kind of pads are they?
Good question.
Those are anti-vibration pads.
Anti-vibration.
Yeah.
You see, I didn't learn that much in detail
about
building PCs.
I thought you knew how to.
I know how what parts go where and like how to install them. It's just I didn't go into smaller details or even details such as like anti-vibrating pads. It was a basic class.
Yeah.
It was more so focused on like PC troubleshooting rather than building one, but you need to learn to build one along the way.
Alright, let's continue.
So the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system.
So the power supply doesn't short circuit and to come into contact with the rest of the system. Power supplies are grounded.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think
they may generate power, but they are grounded? Like,
I mean, why do you think they're in that case? Yeah, it's not gonna short circuit or anything like that. Just.
So just take it in, slide it in nice and easy until you have a snug fit, and then shift it to the back and make sure it's right up against the frame.
Do you see it?
I can assume that's quite wrong.
Fit.
Yeah, like
and then
look,
shift it to the
look
back
at the side of that. The fan is on the wrong side.
Yeah, I can see that. He's definitely put that in backwards. That is incredibly wrong, and that PC will not work because you won't be able to hook anything up.
Make sure it's right up against the frame. That's right. Now you just take the required screws and you tighten and screw.
Oh, he's gonna screw them in like that.
So next step, we're going to install the CPU cooler. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later. Always be sure to try to.
There's any hoses necessary unless you're liquid cooled, but I highly doubt if this is going to be liquid cooled.
Look at the radiator.
Why do you need a radiator?
No, I mean, that's the CPU. That's basically CPU cooled. That's the radiator right there.
Okay, so I guess this would be fan cooled. A quote unquote $2,000 build, and it's air cooled.
By the way, what do you see wrong with that?
With the radiator?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's gonna claim it's for cooling purposes since it's a radiator.
Well, I mean, actually, is what is recommended or pretty much required to put a CPU cooler in. But I mean, like with the way he's putting it in,
I can assume that looks like he's gonna be blocking some fans.
No, I can see the table through the fins of the radiator.
Yeah, that too. I was gonna point that out earlier. I just lost track.
And you want to know why?
Because it's not even a radiator, or it's just no really bad one.
There's no fans on the radiator.
Yeah, there's no fans.
You could have just said that.
My PC is liquid cooled. I do not know of any of this fan peasantry.
Basically, there's no fans on the radiator, which means that it's gonna possibly suffocate, like the radiator as well, or something.
Yeah, if you don't have fans, that
place it in the system first before you install it, because you can see it takes up a lot of space. But in this case, no pun intended, it fits in perfectly, and we're gonna start screwing it in. And so there's nothing special about this screwing in process. They're just really long screws because they go through the entire frame of the cooler, and they take forever.
Don't mind the text message alert I got, but you wanna know why those screws are really long? They're supposed to go through the fans of the radiator.
Yep, the fans as well.
The
radiator has no fans.
So he's possibly gonna break a hole through the radiator or something like that. I don't know. Oh my god. We should have put fans on the radiator.
So next up, cables.
Definitely.
Every power supply is going to come with a big bag of Velcro cables.
No, they
it's
won't.
Kind of daunting at first, so you always have to find the ones that are going to fit.
Cables. That is
in this
power
case,
cables.
you need to match those cables with the correct descriptions on the power supply.
Oh, now the power
next
supply
step is we're connecting the power supply to the motherboard with the 24-pin
I don't know. I didn't see a fan
cable.
there.
We're just matching that cable from the
Maybe
motherboard, threading it through the back,
and
attaching the 24-pin header to the power supply so that we can have one of the connections complete. The next few additions will be for the GPU, for any specific ports that the case has, for any lighting that the case has, the CPU cooler, anything else really. We're installing the CPU, the heart of the computer or the brain, depending on how you look at it. So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard. We're just going to take this little plastic part out.
If there is a plastic covering.
Toss that out of here.
What?
I'm pretty sure motherboards don't come with a plastic covering.
Well, I would say that some do, but did you
Maybe.
see that he just threw that away?
Just threw it away.
You actually need that.
I would hope so.
Because if something goes wrong with your motherboard and you have to do an RMA, which is basically some sort of laser scan. So, I don't know what an RMA is, but I think it's like some sort of process where they try to fix it up or something like that. The manufacturers actually need that socket covering for you, and if you don't have it, they're not going to accept a motherboard that doesn't have it. So don't throw that thing out. Always keep it on you. If you need to RMA it over.
No, the real question is he going to use his thermal paste or not? I'm going to vote no.
Well,
either that or he's not going to use nearly enough or way too much.
Well, let's see.
And now we have an exposed CPU holder, or rather slot.
It's a socket, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're going to use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but this motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does have. It's called a CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one, and it's an 8th generation chip, and it's ready to go. And it supports overclocking.
Somehow I doubt.
So what having this little installer does for you is it's basically a brace that you can apply right to the CPU and light it up with the triangles that you'll see on the bottom left corners. And this will make it easier for us to apply it to the motherboard and then apply thermal paste and then apply a CPU cooler.
At least he's saying apply the thermal paste.
And we're just going to carefully lean it down into the system and make sure that everything lines up. And we're going to clasp down on it, and we'll be good to go.
Anyway, that phone is just wasting its battery and its light. I'm annoyed.
There's also a few points I want to be able to point out. He brags about getting a Core i7-7700 CPU, but when in reality, a Core i7-7700 CPU could be bought at any major retailer.
Yeah, it's just expensive.
I know it's expensive, but
you can find them like anywhere. It's Intel. Intel is all over the place.
Yeah, so like I don't see what's the point of bragging about it.
They're not rare. They're just expensive, which I guess they're kind of rare because they're expensive. But it's not like you have to go across the country to find one.
I know,
or buy one from Japan or something.
So I don't really see any point into bragging about that.
Exactly.
And also, he talked about the CPU applicator. Look right there.
It's not being used.
Yeah, he made all the time.
He's not using it.
He made all the time to talk about it, and he never used it. Are you serious? I mean, like, why was it necessary to even talk about that if you're not gonna use it?
He is a fool. He is a buffoon.
Exactly.
And he is 100% doing this wrong on purpose.
So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU. Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied in a circle around it, but it's usually not enough. It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU.
Putting it directly on the CPU.
The process he's doing is not good. Especially recommended to put it like just a small pea-sized blob of thermal paste onto the CPU so that the heat thing can be able to like spread it out and stuff like that.
Dissipate the heat.
Yeah, so it can spread it out. So it's always best we recommend to put a pea-sized blob, and he's putting more on it than he needs. So that's not good.
The final portion is to add the CPU cooler
messy.
to the top end of the processor. So,
what did you say about messy? That's messy.
Yeah, I said it's gonna be messy.
He spread it out without the use of a thermal paste applicator.
Yeah, he didn't use the little butter knife looking thing. That's supposed to spread it, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
He spread that out from the thermal paste itself. Like,
yeah, you put it on the little butter knife looking thing. I don't know. I don't remember the word for it. But whatever.
It's a thermal paste applicator.
Thermal paste applicator. Oh yay!
Oh my god!
You can't find a flashier name for
That's
that.
a lot. That's way too much. Oh my god!
And he didn't even put it on right.
So you're gonna see
I'm
that
not
there
even
are
surprised
4
at this point. I
brackets,
just want,
or rather like screws in here.
He
that
still has the
brackets
RAM in
and
the wrong
right here.
places.
And they're going to keep the cooler
If you can see
raised
that.
off the
Yeah, the RAM
processor,
is
but it's
still in the
also going to
wrong
be
places.
close enough to actually physically come in contact with it, like basically keep it cool. Take thumb screws like this and just screw them on.
We can't see what he's doing. It's
Exactly.
a wide shot.
Just do this, and yeah. I'm sticking my hands under the table
So
right
now-
now. Not that you can see it or anything, but this is what he's doing.
So not only is this guy bad at building the PC, but the editor's
This
also
entire video is just made to piss people off. If they know what they're watching.
and not only is he bad at building a PC, but also the editor's kind of also bad at
Yeah.
showing.
It's just a combination
Yeah.
of just this video is designed to make you mad. Unless
So
you
now
don't
that
know
our internals
anything
are done,
about
we're
this, you
gonna
might
put the
actually
panels
believe
back
this,
on,
because
which
it
is
looks
the top
serious
glass, side
enough.
glass, front glass, and of course the back panel.
Thank
where
God.
all this fun
I don't
stuff
want to
is
see
happening.
this.
So we fully built the PC, everything's put together, and we got to the post screen. So
We got
what's
to the
next?
post
Well,
screen.
you
Wow,
need a USB
awesome,
flash drive
awesome.
with your Windows installation media on it, and of course a license key. So I plugged that up, installed Windows in a couple of minutes, installed a bunch of drivers, and now we have a fully functioning gaming PC ready to run some games. Right now I've got Armor 3 running at maximum settings, native resolution, which is 1080p HD, and it's running pretty smoothly. I'm averaging 70 and
Is
80
that
FPS,
Armor?
and this is
I don't
normally like a
know.
very
I would not
intensive
doubt it
game
if
to
that's
run.
just the complete
and
wrong
it's still
game.
doing
I
a pretty
don't-
good job.
I've never
So right
played
now I'm playing
Arma.
League of Legends.
League
It's
of
one of my
Legends,
favorite
huh?
games.
What do you know?
At least he's playing the right game.
But League of Legends would not be considered a good benchmark game because
Yeah, it's quite an old game, I think.
it can
Oldish.
run on the baddest of computers.
Can run on a potato, I could imagine. Yeah.
Because the game was designed that way. So basically, if you can read us, the minimum requirements for League of Legends is for a computer with one core processor. So basically, it can run on just about any laptop or computer, I should say. Like, I have a laptop right now that we're recording on, and if I wanted to, I could run the game on there with no problems.
Actually playing against a bot, and I'm
A bot.
distracted, so I'm not actually doing so well. But otherwise, like, this is pretty much what you would see me do on a gaming computer. Test stuff out, and hopefully have really high frame rates like I am right now. I'm averaging 120 FPS, and that's only because I've actually locked the game to that frame rate, because I can get around 300 FPS playing League on maximum settings, which is a little bit absurd, and you don't really need that, so I've locked it. Building a gaming desktop
I don't
has
see the
been a
point in
great
doing that
experience.
ever.
I'm able to max out a lot of my
And I will
favorite
never
titles,
ask
and
this
I'll
guy
be able to
to build
play a
any
lot
one
of
of my
upcoming
PCs
titles like
ever in the future.
5
I
and
wouldn't
Cyberpunk
doubt if he actually
2077
knew how.
without worrying too much about the parts I have.
It's just the fact that
When
he's
ray
purposely
tracing
doing it
GPUs come out,
wrong.
for example, I'll be able to upgrade without having to buy a
You think he's actually
completely
purposely
new
doing it
system.
wrong?
And if I have a problem down the line, I can always just swap out a part and have it serviced.
This stuff is
rather than
actually
using my
like
whole
important
computer.
and like
And
a
of course
really
now
good
we also
advantage
have
of
a computer
PCs.
to test
Anytime you
and
need
benchmark games.
anytime you need to upgrade, or if anything goes wrong, you don't have to get an entirely new system, except like you would a console, or in some cases laptops, I would assume, because not every laptop, I would assume, is very customizable. You might be able to do it with any laptop. It would just be a lot harder to do. But PC is, if there's something wrong with a single part, replace the part. You don't have to buy a whole new system.
Yeah.
Losing my whole computer. And of course now
So he's
we also
actually got
have
some
a
good points
computer to
there.
test and benchmark games here at the Verge.
They're gonna use the computer for testing and benchmarking. I don't think this
That
will be reliable.
PC is not going to perform well, if at all.
I mean, you saw the amount of points that he got wrong.
A
here.
lot. He got a lot of stuff wrong.
Yeah. And also, hold on. I'm gonna look on Google.
I would not be surprised if they just built an identical looking one and did it right.
I'm actually gonna look online and see if there's the actual image of it, because they did actually show it. Okay, so this is pretty much it. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna try to zoom in on it. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just do something real quick. Oh, I moved the microphone.
microphone.
Sorry about that.
So anyway, I'm immediately seeing again
but-
the RAM is in the wrong spot.
I'll make a new tab. That's what I wanted.
I'm not entirely sure that I don't know. My
This is not. Wait, hold on. Can I? Oh, okay, there it is. Okay,
so RAM is definitely in the wrong spot. They should be separated.
Still, yeah.
I don't know if this differs between motherboards, but no, I think my video card is set up like that, where the fans point down. Maybe. I don't actually remember. Or maybe they point up. It just doesn't feel all that right. I don't know. This is a fairly small case. My case is fairly large, but
it will look big if you actually saw it. That's what I think. But
this is a fairly small case, actually. Mine is like Mine is like the biggest you can get, like the full tower.
Oh, okay.
This is most definitely a lot smaller.
What other parts is he wrong?
Well, I assume this is just for the case of showcasing it, but there's 0 things plugged in. Power supply's not even on, but that's probably just because they're showcasing this.
Yeah.
Nothing's even on. I do not see a fan over the CPU. That is most definitely not good. That thing will overheat in an instant if you try to turn this on. Case fans, I don't know if there's anything super wrong with them. This is terrible wire management as well.
Yeah, terrible cable management.
Awful cable management.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a lot of airflow that's gonna be
used. This airflow is going to be so jank.
And also, do you see like
messed up.
Do you see the cables there's the cables touching the graphics card?
Yeah, you don't usually want things like this to be happening. You want your cables to be nice and tucked away, all together, not getting in the way of anything.
And also another reason is that the cables actually contains fluids, which if there's a tear, it will leak water onto the graphics card and possibly short something out.
Oh, then if these cables have fluids, and this is liquid cooled, which means you don't need a fan. So in that case, the whole missing a fan part is completely, that's forgiven, because I guess this would be liquid cooled.
It did look like they used those quote-unquote tweezers, which is actually zip ties.
Yeah, but you use there's a zip tie. That is the most lazy zip tie I've ever seen. It is like not doing anything helpful whatsoever.
Oh man, but also I want to point out, and I'm gonna zoom in on this, but do you see this right here?
That doesn't even look like it's screwed in right there.
No, there's a screw missing from that.
Or just not there in general. It's
How
not screwed in. That was right.
How could you misplace that? How could you do that?
Yeah, because there's a screw there, and then there's just not one.
Like, are you seriously? That's so bad.
If they did this seriously, and I highly doubt they did, I'm surprised this thing would even work in the first place.
People will want to think
I guarantee they built a second one identical to this for the video to work, because none of these parts should be working. He did not wear anything anti-static. He fried every piece he touched. Guaranteed.
People will want to think this is a troll, but
this is definitely a troll.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, Shawn, but it's not a troll. He was serious in all of his points, and if you don't believe me, this video was sponsored by Capital One. Yes, this was a sponsored video.
Oh, face palming right now.
I know.
How can you get this so wrong and be serious about it?
Exactly.
It's so wrong you expect it to be done on purpose, and it's not. My mind is blown.
I'm sorry to show you this, Shawn, but I just wanted to show you that this is by far the most terrible guide to build a PC.
If you follow this guide seriously, you will not have a working computer. Because the main issue, of course, being the anti-static stuff, just not being anti-static in the video. Hey, look, up next, everything wrong with this video. Hey, look, it's almost like we recorded the exact same one.
Well, that's basically because a lot of people have been posting videos like this one.
Exactly.
Including one that was actually kind of a supercut compilation where they had like 8 reactors react to this video and try to point out all of the points they've done wrong, and that video actually has over 2 million views, by the way. So the supercuts reaction, but
I'm still on the point of anti-static stuff. Like, You don't need an anti-static mat because that's mainly there just to put your parts on before you put them in the PC. Like if you need to set your part down somewhere that's not inside the case itself, because the case is grounded. That's what it's made to be, is grounded.
Yes.
So that's why you connect your anti-static wristband to the case to keep yourself grounded so you don't fry everything you touch.
Also want to point out that
that just makes me all the more mind blown that PC actually worked. How?
Yeah, it surprised me too that they got to. It surprised me too that they got to the post screen.
There's no way that thing should have even booted up.
I know. And
he should have fried everything.
And also, I also should mention that he also skipped over like a few of the things, such as an example being like he didn't show how to install the power switch, reset switch, USB adapters. Yeah, he skipped over that.
He didn't show how to connect any of the wires to the power supply. He's just like, connect the motherboard to it, and he never showed how. He never showed which. Well, I mean, to be able to properly know which cables connect to where, you got to look at your manual or whatever whatever comes with your motherboard, your instruction manual thing.
Oh, by the way, the title, it says re-upload. It's because this video was uploaded on The Verge, but because of the amount of negative feedback onto the video,
they took it down.
Yeah, they took it down, and I don't really get why they didn't take it down sooner, because it was up for like a week, and it got so bad that within the first couple of days, they disabled the dislike ratio that you see there, and they even disabled the comments on the original video.
Tried to cover up.
Yes. This is so bad, and this is Steph, and we're making this video here to tell you all that to not follow this guide.
I would have forgiven it if this was done bad on purpose, but it wasn't, and that just makes me. I don't even know.
Yeah, we all want this to be a troll, but unfortunately it's not, because the main reason is this is a sponsored video. And Capital One, I don't think you got the wrong end of the deal. You shouldn't have sponsored this video at all because it's terrible.
The first thing you should do when making something like this is actually have someone do it that knows what they're doing. This guy clearly does not know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He knows some of the words and how to do things, but he's doing so many things wrong and badly and just flat out. You don't need a Swiss Army knife, you just need a small screwdriver.
I know. I think
Let me just stab my motherboard real quick because I tried to use the screwdriver on it. I forgot I had the knife out for some reason.
I say the only thing significant that he got right was the fact that he recommends PCPartPicker.com.
Yeah, PC Part Picker is a good website. Almost everything else, bad.
Yes.
Wrong.
Okay, so that's pretty much
Feel
it.
shame for what you have uploaded.
and while they have taken it down, the internet's still here. They were able to show this to everyone and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's whatever. Anyways, I think that'll be it. So, got any messages for anyone out there?
Learn to know what you're doing before you build a PC, or you're going to be wasting a lot of money. Definitely stay away from what this man's been doing.
I know.
Do things right, do things carefully, and you will not be out $1,000+ because you accidentally fried your motherboard. Because you forgot anti-static stuff is important.
Yeah.
It's not even that. Anti-static stuff is super cheap too. Like, just buy it on Amazon for like $12, which is nothing compared to the $1,000, $1,200 PC you're trying to build.
$2,000.
Yeah, don't forget the most important stuff, which also happens to be the cheapest.
One last point I want to bring out is that you say you can build a PC for $1,000. I can agree with that, but you could build one for less than that too.
Yeah, you can build a PC realistically for most prices, as long as it's like, you could probably build one for only like $200-$300 if you really found some cheap parts. The problem is it's not going to be that good. I may have smacked the table a bit.
And also saying that he said he went all out and paid $2,000. All out is not really.
All
$2,000.
out is not $2,000. If you're going all out, you would be spending several thousand more than that. There are some very expensive parts out there that we're at the point in technology where no game that has been made yet can max out the best graphics cards. You don't need to go that all out unless you don't want to touch your PC or upgrade it for a decade.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Like, I don't remember the name of it, but the latest, like, GTX graphics card. Like, what is it? Like, is it like, no, it's not the 10 series. Is it the 10 series? I don't know. Correct me and whatever, but the latest, like, GTX graphics card, there's no game out there that can max it out. Like, we're at that point in technology. You don't need to go that overboard to build a PC. You can get a really good PC for around less than $1,000, and it'll be able to run just about any game at half decent settings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want better settings and better performance in general, yeah, obviously you want to spend more. But that's the thing. You can start out small with a PC and then upgrade as time goes on. That's the glorious thing about it.
Yeah. Okay, so we pretty much just stated everything that was wrong. So.
In conclusion, don't follow this video except for PC Part Picker. Know what you're doing, and it'll turn out fine.
I do thank you for that advice, Shawn, and you should always follow that, everyone that's watching. So, not this video, but what Shawn's saying right here.
Yeah.
And also go subscribe to his channel. I'll leave his channel link in the description down below.
Subscribe to my channel for no uploads whatsoever.
I mean, you have some videos of.
I have a couple, but I haven't uploaded in forever. I gotta change that.
Maybe I can help you out with that.
I gotta get in a schedule of uploading sometime.
Maybe I can help you out with that, Shawn.
I have some videos that I've been meaning to edit. It's just the problem. I never get around to doing so.
Try to be productive as well. That's what I'll tell you. I always am trying to come back with my usual content and whatnot, but I guess this is just gonna have to be fail for now. Anyways, guys, so I thank y'all for watching this video. Stay determined and
donate to Team Trees.